conferences in 2020, you told the public that the great majority of those suffering long COVID-19 would be a short, mild illness. An example of that was the 11th of May 2020. In 2020 itself, only Sir Stephen Powis warned the public about long COVID at the press conference on the 20th of October 2020. And the first time you mentioned long COVID at a press conference was on the 5th of January 2021. Why didn't you use the press conferences to update the public about the risk of long-term impacts of COVID-19 in 2020, when Dr. Tedros Ghebreyesus had publicly acknowledged long COVID needed recognition as early as August 2020?
Yeah, I think as with many of the things, if I were to rerun the press conferences, which where much of it was not under my control, to be clear, a lot of it was derived from where individual journalists went and a variety of other things. But leaving that to one side, I would have made an earlier mention of long COVID, but it's not obvious exactly what I would have said at different points along the path. So I think, depending on where it was, I would have said different things. So I don't think, I'm just sort of saying, I think there isn't a single thing you could have said. Just to acknowledge that there was long COVID would have been a useful thing to do. I think the acknowledgement would have been helpful at an earlier stage. In public, I was very clear it existed well before that in a press conference. But beyond that, a lot of this was around trying to help people make rational public health decisions, and I'm not confident exactly what the points are I would be making.
Well, I'll just develop that one boat.
You're not going to develop it very far, Mr.
I will,
I'm afraid. We've got another 10 minutes to go before we can break for lunch.
You only mentioned long COVID 3 times in press conferences in 2021. Do you accept that those 3 references was not sufficient to inform the public about the risk of indiscriminate long-term debilitating illness? And do you accept that on reflection, messaging could and should have been improved?
Well, on the second of those, could messaging have been improved? I mean, the answer to that, to almost any question you could ask on disability, on ethnic minority and various other things, the answer is, of course, going to be yes. Would my